A young lady had goiter. You remember? She had goiter. Terrible goitrous situation that required surgery. They took her to the operation table and did the surgery. As they did the surgery, they began to battle with her life. They tampered with the nerves of speech and all the nerves around the throat there. They began to battle with her respiration. Long story made short, she died on operation table. She said while they were calling the doctor, she saw how she stepped out of her body. And she was seeing the people mourning and crying. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't bring herself back to the body. She just kept on going. Took off from that hospital in Lafia, right? And then returned back to her house in Nyanya, in Maraba. From Maraba house, she came all the way to the Glory Dome, Healing and Deliverance Service. And while she was at the Healing and Deliverance Service, she said she saw the protocol at the gate, the security at the gate, the people at the scan. She said she passed them, they didn't see her. That's how they. She passed them, they didn't see her. And she came right into this sanctuary and saw me on the altar. And I was dancing with the leg moving. And I gave her a word. That your life can be back to you now. While in the Healing and Deliverance Service. She heard that word while I was speaking on the altar. And from here she zoomed back to Lafia. Back into her body. A force, the devil took her out. You can see she still has the tracheostomy tube on her neck and all of that. A force took her back straight. Did you? You took the testimony, you remember? Do you remember the word that I spoke while I was here? See, I was dancing with the leg. I commanded her. I didn't know anybody was that, but I was speaking life to everybody. That life entered her. She disappeared from here on the spot. At the same time, entered her body. Right in the hospital in Lafia.
Sir, the pastor in Maraba, where she is, said she's totally okay now.
That's right. That's right.
No symptom, nothing. You can't find any trace.
Her voice is back to normal. The tracheostomy tube has been removed.
She said she could hear her loved ones crying and calling her back, but the spirit had left, and she found herself at the Glory Dome. At the Glory Dome, the senior pastor was on the altar, preaching and making brutal declaration against the spirit of death. She received them and returned back to her body in the hospital in Lafia. Her relatives had already signed the death certificate. A coffin had already been brought to carry her away, and that was when she began to move. She was discharged and traveled back to Abuja. 10 months later, she attended the Nyanya Maraba crusade, where she received her healing and is now able to talk and breathe normally to the glory of God.